Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make this. All Retrovision tracks have some cool production stuff going on, and this track is no exception. There's a really cool thing going on with the reverb and the lead, which I'll show you guys. But if you want to download the samples and the presets from this remake, or the project file if you want that too, then you can get those below for free. But anyway, let's get into how I remade it. So the lead sound itself is super easy to make. So I use Silent to make this sound, and it's really just like the initial preset on a saw wave, one voice of unison, and then there's nothing really else going on in the oscillator tab or the filter tabs. The only thing that I'm adding is some distortion, chorus, and compression. So if I take this distortion, chorus, and compression off, the distortion just makes it a lot fatter, the chorus kind of widens it up a little bit, and the compression obviously just evens out that signal and compresses it. But that's not the cool part of this lead. The cool part is the reverb layer. So if I solo both these leads, the reverb layer is this one, and it looks like an audio file. See how much cooler and more interesting that reverb layer makes the lead? So how I did that is I literally just duplicated the main lead sound, which I have up here, and I added this reverb to it. So I started with the preset called Short Vocal Ambience and just messed around with it until I liked it. But I put the mix at 100% wet. And it sounds really bad right now, but what I did was bounce this to an audio file. So I just bounced it in place by hitting Control B and just enter. And then I have all of that reverb as an audio file. So what you can do is go to your scissors tool and start chopping up this reverb. So you're not using all of the reverb tails, you're just using some of it. So I just chopped it in certain places where it was chopped in the original. I also don't know if he used this exact technique to do this, but it worked for me. So this is a cool technique you can definitely use in your own songs. So what I did was just go through and chop up the reverb throughout the drop. And then I would delete little parts in between until I came up with all these chops down here. So by itself, the reverb chops sound like this. And a cool thing he did was offset some of the reverb chops. Like normally this one would be right here. But what he did was move it back a 16th note. And it gives it a really cool effect. So that's what I did for the lead. There's still a couple more cool things in this remake to talk about. So I'll just delete this. And then we can talk about this staccato bass I have here, which you probably don't even notice in the mix that much, but it adds a lot of rhythm to the track. So it actually sounds different after I mute the leads, and that's because I'm sidechaining this bass signal to the leads. So it kind of alternates with the leads. So if I just solo this main lead layer and this bass, you'll be able to see in this compressor that I used how I sidechain the bass to the lead signal. So what I did was send the lead signal to a bus down here, bus 22, and I just changed the output to no output, so there's nothing coming out of this bus. And what I'm then doing is in this compressor, I'm sidechaining the bass to that bus that the lead signal is going into. That way it just gives the lead and bass this really cool alternating effect. So when the lead is playing, the bass is way lower in volume, and when the lead stops playing, the bass comes back in. Other than that, there's just some random stabs and stuff that Retrovision always has in here, like this stab sound. It's a cool sound. You can download that below if you want it. It's from Serum. There's some fills, like this fill with a slap bass and this little blip sound. And then another one I like a lot is this funky synth sound right here. So what I did here was remake this sound in Serum, and it's really just a saw wave, 7 voices of unison, some detunes, some bright white noise on there. And then in the effects section I just added some dimension expander and some multiband compression. But what I did is take this LFO right here and map it to the master pitch, and then I made the aux source the mod wheel. So now every time I move the mod wheel on my MIDI controller, it makes the pitch fluctuate at a rate that I set with this LFO down here. So then what I did was in this MIDI file, just go down here and go to Modulation. Where is it? Right here. And you can see I just modulated the first chord. So the first chord is the only one getting the vibrato, and the second chord is more like a stab. Other than that, if you want all these drum samples, you can download them below. I like this kick a lot, it's 3 different layers. But I'll just bounce it as one kick for you guys. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I've got a new single coming out in like 2 weeks, so be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely announce it on my channel and do a video on it. But other than that, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.